full session, so we're going to start at the top of the hour. We still have a bunch of people coming in, but we're going to start. Just as a beginning, we will be recording this call. A lot of folks, there's a lot of information that's going to be covered, and recording gives everybody the opportunity to actually go in and listen and actually share this broadcast with other people. So this call will be recorded. Just some logistics. You'll notice that there's the chat box. If you have any questions at all for Michael Turczyniak, our speaker, please put it into the chat box, and at the end of the session, we'll handle those that Q&A. Our speaker today is Michael Turczyniak. He's the founder and CTO of Mico Systems. He's married. He has 2 young adults. I learned that you need to call them young adults when they're 21 and 19 years old. He is a big Chicago Blackhawks fan. He is also a big-time golfer. If you get the chance, Mike, you have to tell us what your handicap is, because I know I'm a small-time golfer, even though I play a lot. My handicap is unbelievably high. Mike's spent a lot of time volunteering. He was the president of the Oakville Hornets Girls Hockey Association for the past 6 years, and is currently on the board as a past president. He's also been on the girls board for 8+ years, and currently is on the Ontario Women's Hockey Governing Board, serving as 3rd vice chair for the province. So amazing background, and much more than just an expert in technology that many of you are used to. So also today's topic is an amazing topic. It's termed the hidden secrets of Office 365, and as many of you may know, that Office 365, as well as many software products, people only use a small percentage of what the product has to offer, only a very small percentage. But there's a whole piece that if you knew that it existed, you would be able to increase your productivity dramatically. So that's what our session's all about today. That's what Mike is going to be talking about. So tonight's session is the hidden secrets of Office 365. Our speaker is Michael Turczyniak. Mike, it's all yours.
Thanks, Eric, for that lovely introduction. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the hidden secrets of Office 365. I'm just trying to maneuver around these PowerPoint presentations. This is me. As Eric mentioned, 1994 is when Mico Systems was formed. We've been in business for over 20+ years. Some of you that are on the call have obviously dealt with us, and some of you have not. This is just a tip of the iceberg of what we actually offer our customers. So basically what I'm going to go through today is really Office 365. I'm not going to go through all the components because we're going to be on a pretty tight timeline. And I'm going to just show you some of the secrets, hidden secrets that I refer to, and some productivity tools. Some of you have seen some of these, some of you have not. So let's enjoy the ride, and we'll begin the presentation. So first and foremost, Office 365 is a cloud-based solution that allows us to collaborate and to be able to save files and store them in the Microsoft Cloud. I'm going to jump right into OneDrive. So OneDrive really is your own personal folder. So those who have Google Drive or Dropbox or even Microsoft OneDrive Personal. Microsoft OneDrive for Business is a great tool to allow you to store files, be it in the cloud. When I use the cloud, I'm going to refer to the Microsoft Cloud, and also give you the ability to synchronize those files locally. So the cool things about Office 365 OneDrive is the fact that we have a terabyte of space. So we have plenty of room to put in documents, be it from Word files, Excel files, any Office files, even PDFs and pictures. So as you can see on my screen here, I have a realm of folders and a realm of files that I have, and it's fairly straightforward. I can create, from my web browser, and it doesn't have to be, it's not browser specific, so any browser you choose, I can simply go in and create a document fairly quickly, and that when it loads up, I'm just going to create a Word document. Hello everyone, hope you enjoy the show. It saves everything in real time. You're going to notice when they go to File, there actually is no save. It's Save As, and really the Save As function allows me to download copies. But I've in essence really saved the file in real time. And how do I know that? So I'll just go down to my OneDrive, and as you'll see down here, you'll actually see a file that I've just created about a minute ago, and it'll say document. So by default, there's the document. Of course, I'm going to rename that document because I don't want to call it document, and I will simply go in here and change the document name to call it Office 365 demo document, and hit save. So pretty basic. Obviously, this is my stuff personally. I can also obviously put my stuff for work-related documents in here. OneDrive and SharePoint are based on the same back engine. So the nice thing about the Office 365 experience is I have the ability to share these files. And just like Dropbox and Google Drive, I simply go into the file. I'll go back into my file that I created, and I can simply hit the share button and invite people to that. So when I hit the invite people, it's people that are internally to my system. So John's one of my guys. I have some options I can give them. I can have them do an edit and view. What I want people to understand is we don't send files anymore. We don't send attachments with Office 365. We get away from doing that because it's hard to manage those attachments. So with OneDrive and SharePoint, the ability to create files online and share them via a link, and those users who have access to the link, obviously if I've given John edit access, I can certainly send him an email. He'll end up getting a document link, which he'll now be able to share with me. The document never leaves, which is a great thing, because now I can also see when John's in. As you can see, where's that file? The name now comes sharing, and now John is sharing that file with me. If I want to save it, if I want to share with people outside the organization, customers, friends, whatever I chose to do, I could do the same thing here, and I'll take this file, which I think I didn't do correctly, but I'll do this one now, and basically go back to my share dialog box, and I have the ability to get a link. And what the link allows me to do is it allows me to copy this link, and I can put some parameters on this link. So as you can see, when I hit my drop down menu, I have a bunch of options in here. 1, 2, 3, 5 different options where I can restrict things, I can view them, I can edit. So if you're a Microsystem employee, you'll see that. If you're a guest or a customer of mine and I want you to edit this file, I simply change the parameters. It creates the new link. I have an expiration date on it, so I can say, you know what, I'm only going to give you this for the day. I'm going to give you this for a month. I'm going to give this to whenever. I can certainly change that. So we'll back in here, go in, I'll say edit. I don't need a sign-in. And I will do a copy, allow, and I'll launch my Outlook. And it's on my other screen, so I'll move that over. I'll hit new. I'll hit paste. And I'll just send it to my Gmail account. That's just as a pretend email, test email. And voila, that's how simple it is. You'll see that this is the email that John would have got earlier, and as you can see, there is no attachment. It's just a simple link. The file stays here. Control the file, and I can certainly see when revisions are there. The beautiful thing about the OneDrive app is it is an app. So not only can I see this on my desktop, I can also download this on my iPhone, my Android, my Windows phone, any sort of tablet. I have the ability to access this at any time. If I wanted to have a synchronized copy of files, I have the ability to do so. So right now we are on the web, and as you can see, these are all files on the web, and they're highlighted as new 4 minutes ago. I can also get the same files from my local workstation. It's, again, a matter of downloading the app onto your workstation. In this case, I'm running Windows 10. You're going to see that there is the Mico, there's my OneDrive. And as you can see, there will be green check boxes along here. That represents that the file is synchronized, so means that I have a copy of it locally and I have a copy of it in the cloud. So as you can see, the file I was working on a couple minutes ago is not in green because it's not synchronized. Once that becomes green, I then I'm allowed to load it locally and via the cloud. So I have the option, obviously, as you can see, to run it locally or run it in a full Word document. So that's kind of how we look at how we look at OneDrive. Let's move on to SharePoint. So SharePoint is really think of your server. Think of the shares that you typically have. It's just a graphical way of looking at files. When you get Office 365, by default, Microsoft sets up the SharePoint site for you. And we'll just go into our company one. And so you'll see that I can create the title. I could put the icons on here. I have the ability to add applications and apps. So as you'll see that down below here, I have a demo document library. The same follows. It looks exactly like SharePoint. Exactly like OneDrive for Business. Feels the same. Does exactly the same thing. I can certainly take a file, open it up, and do the same sort of thing. I can edit it in Excel. If I have Excel loaded locally, I can edit it in Excel online. I can also go in and share it. When I go in here, I can go in and share it. I can also see who I've shared it with, and I can also stop those shares. So once I'm done sharing it, I can go back and say, you know what, I don't want these people to share it. One thing about SharePoint is the fact that we have this thing called version control. And version history, sorry. And what version history does is allows me to go back in time to get to a file. And as you'll see, I hit these 3 little dots. I have another menu that comes down and opens up, and I have this thing called version history. This allows me to go back in time to get any of the files that I worked on. So, which is a great thing. So if I'm sending these links back and forth to other users in my organization, or even as you can see, I sent a guest link yesterday, I can see when it was modified. And if I don't like those changes, I can certainly go back and simply restore those changes back. So SharePoint and OneDrive give you version control. You have the ability to the ability to work in this kind of environment on the browser side. So as you see, as I was pointing out, I've created a demo calendar, so I can have my calendar populate in here. I can go in, I can do contacts. Same thing, I can create contacts in here. I can also create links. You know, I have a bunch of favorites, so I want to share those amongst my office. So SharePoint, when we're in SharePoint, we're using it to share with other users that are in the network. Some of the other cool little features with SharePoint is the search capabilities are just phenomenal. I can search on keywords because it'll pick up words in my document, it'll pick up letters or numbers in any of the documents or spreadsheets that I post on my SharePoint here. So for example, we used to be a big IBM shop years ago selling servers, so we'd have a lot of IBM proposals. So if I simply type in the word IBM, you'll simply see that it'll search my entire SharePoint catalog site, and it'll obviously reference these documents that we used to have. So you'll see that inside the document itself, the word IBM is referenced. Yep. We'll do that again. Sorry. Oh, not sure what happened there. The crash. We'll get back on there really quickly. So again, if I type in IBM, so you'll see that there's, and these are pretty old files from 2008, 2012 that are in there. So, and it looks, as you can see, there's PDFs in here that are captured. So then there's the other side of the coin on how to access this file. Obviously, some people don't like working in this view. They don't like, hey, I can't work in this. How do I get files if I want to add more files? So there's a kind of there's a trick you can actually pull, and you can open this up in Internet Explorer, and I just did that myself. So as you can see, there's in Internet Explorer. Some people in Explorer itself, some users like to just use this because they're used to this. They're used to their network drives. They're used to the fact that they can access files here. You can also go one step further and simply take this and map a network drive. Now, why would I map a network drive? Well, some applications, for example, like Adobe, when you try to save files, don't like saving it to URLs, and they like saving them to, they want to see it at a map drive. So here's the map drive. So again, as you can see, it's just, you know, I'm gaining access the same way as I was through the browser. The only difference is this is through Explorer as opposed to the internet. Again, it's just a comfort level with users, and as you can see, not on my workstation here. Just drag it over. Away we go. So that's kind of how we're going to jump into. That's SharePoint in a nutshell. I'm going to skim through these really quickly. I'm now going to go into Outlook because everybody uses Outlook. A lot of people use Outlooks. I'm going to just show you my Outlook here. Just some time-saving things that I think some of you will see. My inbox here, for example, is really my to-do list. And what happens is if I need to book an appointment to review something with the particular email, well, what I'll end up doing, for example, is I will say, okay, I'm going to, obviously I got a hockey email, so I'm going to take this email, I'm going to deal with it later. So what I'll do is I'll simply take this email, drag it down to calendar, go into the calendar and say, okay, you know what, I'm going to allocate some time, probably tonight at 7:30 and to 8. I'm going to hit save and close. So what's going to happen is if I go to my calendar today, you'll see that that is there. Then I go in and categorize it. So it's just a simple way for me to to deal with ongoing emails when I don't need to have a meeting with somebody necessarily that's in that email. Another little cool thing is the ignore button. Not sure if you guys know what that is, but if you go to your view and you change your view to conversations, and I'll just do this for a second here, you'll see that it sorts everything in conversation. So here's a conversation, here's a conversation. What I can do is I can click on the conversation, and I can go simply up here and hit the ignore button. And what the ignore button will do is it will ignore all that thread. So, sometimes we get emailed with a whole bunch of other people in this thread, and it's like, geez, I don't want to hit a reply all. I don't actually want to see these anymore, but they're going to still continue to fester. So hitting the ignore button allows me to go and say, you know what, I'm going to ignore. They're going to continue to have their conversation. I'm just not going to get those emails. I guess they'll figure it out when I don't reply anymore, and they'll probably pick up, what's going on? I'm just sending you an email. So that's the ignore button. Replying to emails is simply coming up here. If you have Skype, you can send an email through IM. Skype does an IM. This is my partner I deal with all the time, Scott, and I can send them a quick text to let them know that dealing with this issue. So I know I could type it up in an email, but if it's something something urgent, I can certainly do that, and he's going to reply back, maybe, and there he goes. So, another cool feature is search. So everybody has the search features up here. Just as a notice, if when you do the search, you'll see the toolbar changes up here, and you'll see there's a whole bunch of things that allow you to change it. So, for example, if I want to do a search on Scott, and I wanted to do, it, and I wanted to do a certain subject, I can put those headers into the search and simply hit enter. It's going to just search for Scott's name in here, and as you can see, that will end up being wherever his name applies, and there's an attachment. So the search function is pretty cool with respect to how you use it. Now, by default, it's only going to show you the current mailbox, and you can go down to different folders, or you can do the entire mailbox. It's up to you on how you want to do the search. That's one way of doing it. Another cool way of hitting the search is Outlook has this thing called search folders. And search folders are phenomenal because of the fact that, we have a hard time managing our folders and our emails. So typically what we'll do is we'll simply drag them over to, we'll have folders in here, and we'll try not to make a mistake and move them in here. So there's a couple things I'm going to show you. The quick step is a way of making sure that you don't make that mistake, and then I'll show you what search folders do. So quick step is I've created a bunch of quick steps where, for example, I know that this is a Mico staff email. So if you look at my rules up here, what I do is I say I'm going to move anything from Mico staff to my zero inbox, and I can get into that discussion another time, but we don't have the time to do that. And then what I do is I simply categorize it. So I categorize it as Mico. And then you'll see I do the same thing for my vendors. I do the same thing for my clients. I do the same thing for zero inbox. I do that because of the fact that I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to take this email and go, geez, where am I going to put this? Is it one in the right folder? So I've come up with a system of about 9, 10 different things that I get emails about, and I simply just click on that. If I don't think this is necessary, I hit the delete button and it's gone. Right here, it's okay, this is a hockey thing. Here, this is the work thing, so I'm going to hit that. So Quick Steps helps me organize and move my emails really quickly. But the search folder is phenomenal because now what I can do is I can now search on things. So I'm going to use my partner Scott as an example here. So, for example, if I wanted to find all the emails that I sent Scott, I simply hit OK. I hit OK. What happens is it dynamically creates this folder called Scott, and then it'll start to populate. So all the emails that he and I have conversed over the years will show up. And the beautiful thing about this is it's dynamic. So every time he sends me an email, and I send him one back, I know he's on, so what'll end up happening is when this thing populates is it'll automatically populate in here. So as you can see, they're all starting to go by date. So I can have this always on, and it will certainly help me organize and find emails. Another way of certainly leveraging the email. So I'll go back to that. All right. So just as an FYI, so let's look at the deck. So down here you have your mail, your calendar, your people, your tasks. You can certainly go on these three little dots. They are very significant in Outlook and all other applications in Office. If I click on the compact navigation, it just makes them smaller, which now makes it, hey, I have them as icons. And what you'll see is when I hover over them, this is what they call peek. I want to take a peek at what's going on. So these are my contacts. I want to take a peek at my tasks, and then so what I can do is, so when I go into my calendar, for example, calendar, I close this. You'll see I can actually go in here. I can go in and, I'm going to have a lunch with my buddy tomorrow. He's coming by to take a look at our new offices. So you'll see I can actually go in. If I want to actually show this in my Outlook, and it depends on your, how much real estate you want to show. If you right mouse on it, you have an option of docking the peak, dock the peak. So guess what happens? I just docked it, and now I have them all populate. You'll see that the calendar will start to come up, and all my tasks will come up. I can do the same thing, obviously, with my contacts. Same thing happens here. So my contacts show up. So I have the ability to do that. I usually do that. I also like to minimize this, so I want to try to get as much real estate as possible. So I'm just going to undock. I'm not going to do that. So now I can see everything going across fairly nicely. Another thing that we want to look at time-consuming wise is, I know we deal with a lot of emails. Oh, thanks, Scott. So for example, here's an example. I'm going to send an email, and we're just going to use this thing called Quick Parts. So Quick Parts is a pretty cool thing. It's like, thanks for the email. And then sometimes you always say the same thing. So I always sometimes in my emails go, if you have any questions or concerns, please contact me via email or cell. And then I put in my number, blah, blah, blah. So I always put that in. So with Quick Step, I can certainly just take this dot, highlight this, go to Insert, go to Quick Parts, and I can save this. So now I'm just going to say, perfect, I'm going to save it, hit OK. I'm going to close that up. Boom. I'm going to go back to Scott. I'm going to say, hey, Scott, blah, thanks again. And then I'm going to put in that verbiage that I always use. So I'm going to say, okay, well, I'm going to insert, go to Quick Parts, boom, there it is. If you keep typing the same things all the time and they're not in your footer or in your signature, this is just a quick way of, hey, I'm going to just copy in this text. And as you can see, you can have as much as you want. There's just, it's endless. So that's a pretty cool way of saving some time. Another thing, I'm just going to jump over to Calendar for a second and expand this. Just like all of us, we have a lot of people that we deal with internally and externally. If I wanted to instead of me doing the traditional, I'm going to pick these guys. What I can do is I can start making groups. And what I'll do is I'll create a calendar group. So here's my calendar group. I'm going to call it the my project team. So I deal with the guys in the project team. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to create that. And then I'm going to go in, and it's going to be Michael, oops, Justin, see if I get this end date, and Vince. And I'll hit OK. So it creates a project calendar. So as you can see, here's my project group. Simply, so I have the ability to create different calendar groups. Okay, that's a pretty efficient way to do it. So I'm going to obviously create different groups for different departments in my organization here. All right, so let's move on. Meetings. So I'll get rid of this. So look at my calendar. So today we're going to have a meeting. So meeting, discuss, move. So we've just recently moved. I'm going to invite Scott, and it will be in our boardroom. I'm going to hit a Skype meeting. We're going to talk about Skype later. So I'm going to, if he doesn't have Skype, that's going to be one thing. Agenda, to-do list of moving, contacting vendors, clients. So I'm just going to hit send, and we're going to have a meeting. I don't know how to spell. There we go. So we're going to have this meeting. So what's going to happen now is I'm going to double click it. The time is here. I now want to take notes, and this product called OneNote is phenomenal. I suggest everybody gets it. You do get it with Office 365. You just have to learn how to use it and turn it on. So I have the ability to share the notes with Scott or take them on my own. So I'm going to take them on my own. So what's going to happen is OneNote opens up. I already have a notebook called Microsystem Office, internal work. Just going to create one there. Boom. So right now, here we go. So here's my OneNote. It has captured the participants, so it's just Scott and I, so I can actually tag them and say, okay, Scott and I are both in that meeting. I have my agenda to do contacting vendors and clients. There's really no formatting to this whatsoever, so then I can certainly start creating a list. I can go, you know what, who will deal with email to clients, remove. I can tag this, so I can go up here and say tag. I have lots of tags in here, so as you can see, there's a drop-down menu. What do we need to hire? What do we need for rental to move furniture? You get my point. I can tag that as important. So I can certainly take these. I can add pictures. I can add whatever content in here. As you can see, this is a notebook, and where typical notebook would have sections. So there's my sections that I have. Obviously, I have an Office 365 presentation note, and then in here, dates are just added pages. So in my OneNote, I created this. We've chatted. I can certainly send this with Scott if I chose to give him a link. The beautiful thing about OneNote is its search capabilities are fantastic. Just like I said, the Outlook is fantastic. I can do the same thing here and certainly go and say, let me search on, we have a lot of meetings, and I'm going to use the word backup. So let me do an email, a search on backup. So you're going to see all the backup discussions we've had, and these are all the different notes. So I can certainly just do on words. I can also do on tags. So if I wanted to do certain tags, now a tag is, as you can see, a symbol that I've tagged a question, an importance. A tag also by default is the user. So I can go in and say, you know what, I want to find every meeting I've had with Michael Edwards in my office. And see how that looks. So as you can see, I've got tons of discussions on backups. So that's one. So that's kind of one way of dealing with OneNote. You can certainly, as you can see, I can put pictures in here. I can put the time. I can stamp it. I can also record it. I have a laptop, so I can also write, and then you can actually convert from ink to text, which means that it will actually convert what I've written. It's pretty good with the hand recognition software. Okay, I can certainly link things, and of course I can, if I want to put an Excel spreadsheet in here, I can do the same thing. It embeds all this. It's going to find me the spreadsheet. I'm not going to go through that. So OneNote certainly does its job. That's one way of capturing notes. If I don't have a, for example, if I don't have a calendar appointment, I just want to take notes. So if I'm going to go back to my Office 365 demo, so I can certainly just go into create a new page. We'll call it April demo. I'm going to create a page and recap demo. So you also have the ability to capture it this way through meeting details. So if I click on the meeting details, you're going to see it looks at all my meetings that I've had that are in my calendar. So a quick and quick way of getting the another way of doing notes. All right, let's move on. So OneNote. So I'm not sure whatever's going to happen there. So let's talk about Skype. So Skype is an add-on application that, depending on your plan, but Skype really is everyone knows the public version of Skype, and that is really to make phone calls and converse with people. Skype for Business does a bunch of things like that. So use Scott as in my example. You'll see that I can text Scott, hello. I have the ability to do a video call with them. So if we both have cameras, we can do a video conference. I have the ability to add people to it. So you know what? I know John's on here. So John, he's in that. You're going to notice that his status is red, and so is mine. You'll know that that's because of the fact that we're in a call and we're in a conference. It looks at our presence. So welcome, John. So now I have Scott and John. Again, I can have multiple users on here. We can do it via calls, so we can pick up our phones and call via our cell. Again, these apps are available on our mobile devices. The cool thing about Skype, though, is I can do some collaboration. So I can present my desktop. I can also do a whiteboard with these guys and say, hey guys, I'm going to send you some documents. We're going to open up a file together, and now we're going to pictures together. So that's some of the ways we can obviously use Skype. We can do document sharing, as I showed you earlier, and PowerPoint presentations. So those are some of the little things with Skype I wanted to show you. There's so much more. And that's kind of it for now, Eric. I think I'm good.
Yeah, we have a bunch of questions, but
Okay.
Mike, incredible job. Thank you so much. I can't believe I have like 3 pages of notes, and this is the 3rd time I've listened to this presentation. So congratulations. So one of the questions that came through was about spam handling in Outlook. Can you go over some of the spam? We all get a lot of spam, and we need to figure out ways, I think, in order to reduce that. Can you go over that with us?
Yeah, so what happens is, so Microsoft Office 365 does have spam content filtering. So when you get junk mail, so you'll see that I do have junk mail, right? So just remember that every email that you get is rated, and there's a rating that's detected by the Microsoft people, and what they do is they go, okay, we're going to rate this email. We're going to say, hey, this falls in this tolerance, and everything has a tolerance level. So they look at where it gets sent, how it gets, where it gets sent, who it got sent from, and just the servers they use. So by default, if things don't fall into your inbox, they will fall into your junk mailbox. And then there's going to be things that don't get into your junk mailbox that your administrator will be able to, in Office 365, be able to retrieve some of the messages that are, I would consider, like blacklisted, that they're not going to get through the system. So when we get junk mail, and we know that these aren't junk mails, so one of the things that you can certainly do is you can go up to this junk icon and you can say, hey, this is not junk, and now it's going to move that email into your inbox. You also have the ability to go into your junk email options, and what happens is you'll see that you have a bunch of tabs in here. No filtering. Filtering gives you certain levels on how emails are going to be sent to you. You can also create an ongoing safe senders list. So what happens is every time you send an email, it automatically populates that, and it will automatically put it into your inbox. So you won't get into your junk mail. And then, of course, every time you block something, this also populates. And if you're an organization, what you can do is if you have a whole bunch of blocked emails, you can basically export this file and then send this file to all your other users, so you're all blocking the same people. So again, it's fairly simple to highlight and say, yes, this is not junk. Or if I'm in my inbox and I'm saying, I believe this is junk, I hit my right mouse button, I can block the sender, I can block the domain, I can do a whole bunch of things, or I can use this. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping it answered the question. It seemed very clear. So there's a question about Skype, and
Okay.
many of us have dabbled with Skype as a conference tool, but there's other capabilities with Skype, aren't there?
Yeah, so it's a conferencing tool. We use it internally a lot. Like, for example, we use it just for the operations part. Like, instead of sending an email saying somebody's on the phone, we use a lot of it in the text format to say, hey, these are quick conversations we want to do. I don't want to capture an email. Hey, do you want to do lunch? Do you have a minute to chat? Sort of conversations that way. Yeah, it goes out of the realm of not just having to make a phone call, not only to do a video conference. As I showed you earlier, you can also host meetings. I know, for example, in our office, if one of the girls has an issue with their computer and they can't get one of the tech guys to help, they'll say, hey, Mike, do you have a second? I quickly connect to their machine because it allows me to present their desktop, and I can go in and do whatever I need to do to help them. just like when we're doing a demo, if we're not in the same, like now we have two offices for the short term. So in our second office, in the last couple of days, we've been sharing desktops so we can collaborate on document and work together. So Skype has a whole bunch of different things you can do.
So we have a question about OneNote.
Yep.
Person didn't realize what the capabilities of OneNote are, and would like you to expand on that a little bit more. Is there, what other things can you do in OneNote that help, that's what the question was. If we expand on OneNote a little bit.
So yeah, we can certainly do that. OneNote is an amazing organizer, if you want to call it that, with notes taking, certainly capturing information. Instead of handwriting it down, like you come to a meeting, 3/4 of the people have a book in front of them. They're writing down the notes and they're going to capture it. Well, guess what? OneNote does that. And if you have a device that is hand recognition, or you have a microphone, you can record all that information. It's really a great place to capture anything that you would hand to paper. The way I look at it is that's kind of how OneNote would work. And the beautiful thing about OneNote is download it onto your mobile device. It synchronizes because it's in the cloud. So anything that you do, and I can't show you my iPhone, but on my iPhone, if I forgot my laptop or my iPad or whatever device I had, I can simply take my iPhone out and connect to OneNote and be able to capture everything. And if I really didn't want to type, I would be able to capture it via a recording. So, again, we can get a little more in depth. We offer some sessions on Outlook and OneNote. On that, there's just so much more we can show you. That's sort of all I'm saying right now. So.
That works fine. So OneDrive, question about, I guess it's probably just a simple question. Is there a limit to the size that you can, how big a OneDrive do you get? And is there a limit to the size that you can actually upload into OneDrive?
So OneDrive, as I mentioned earlier, has a 1 terabyte of storage. So every user has 1 terabyte of storage. And if I want to upload a file, there used to be a restriction of 2 gigs, and now it's gone to 10. So they've removed the restriction, so it's a 10 gig file you can actually upload to your OneDrive. Where it gets tricky is where you want to synchronize files. So again, on the back end side, from administrator point, you can certainly lock down a whole bunch of things with OneDrive, or you can make it wide open. But yeah, you can have you can have as many pictures as you want. You've got 1 terabyte of space, so you're not going to be limited to that. Where you're going to hear the limitation is when you need to do the synchronization. So syncing, again, is if it's to my laptop, if it's to my desktop, you just got to make sure you got a pretty internet to be able to get those files that come down to your local machine. So.
It's a follow-up question about OneDrive in terms of notifications. So you talked about sharing and sharing files, and that's I'm reading into this question a little bit, so excuse me. You talked about sharing files. Do you get notifications when somebody actually modifies one of the files, or is that something that you need to set up? Is that automatic, or can that be set up?
No, that's something that you need to set that up. In SharePoint, you'll see that there is in here, you can do email, you can do alert me. So you can alert me, so if I wanted to go down here, so we'll take SharePoint as an example. So when I'm in a document library, I can go in here and I can create an alert, and I can manage my alerts. So I can go in and say, okay, when somebody goes in here, send me an email. If somebody makes a change, send me an email. Alert me. So yes, that is all customizable. If I do that now, it's going to, as you can see, those are some of the things I can even get a text to me. So these are the different things that I can get alerted on for those libraries with SharePoint. And you could do this, again, SharePoint and OneDrive basically are the same.
Wow. How difficult is, I mean, this is a question for me. How difficult is it to set up a SharePoint?
It's not. What happens is when you, out of the box or out of the cloud, I guess, is it automatically creates this team site. So the only thing you need to do is kind of modify your title. You're going to get sort of this. You get this sort of page that comes up, and it'll just say, well, what do you want to do? And basically you're going to figure out, okay, well, I want to create a document library. Well, the document libraries are folders with all of our data. I can create a wiki page. I want to create a document library that hosts all my pictures. I could do announcements. I could do contacts. I'll show you. It's pretty straightforward. If I click on document library, prompts me, hey, what do I want to call this? And I call it whatever. I can do a whole bunch of things behind the scenes. I can put some more restrictions on, but by default, it's fairly simple to set up fairly quickly. Permissions are, again, depending on the administrator, are pretty wide open based on what the company policy is. So. And with another fact with SharePoint, the days of having a file server on premise are going to be gone soon, because now Microsoft has given every site, so this is a site, 1 terabyte of space, and you can have up to, I think, I think you can have 25 terabytes per site. I believe was the number, and you can have multiple sites. So as you can see, we have different sub-sites. We have a sales and marketing site. We have a human, we have different sites here that are needed for different departments, and then we just lock down those sites based on the person that requires it, and we're not limited to space at all. And it's always up. It's always on. So there's 3 numbers we need to remember. 30 days is minimum. It keeps your data. If you create a policy, you can create policies that you want to keep your data forever, but you should be able to retrieve things 90 days back. When we have to go 90 days back, we call Microsoft, and Microsoft restores the data. So you'll see it in here. There'll be a recycle bin, and in the recycle bin, it allows us to see all the data that's been deleted in the last 30 days. And it's very simple. You just click on it and away you go. So peace of mind, backup's gone. Like, I don't have to worry about backup. It's there. It's instantaneous. Security, Microsoft security is really tight, so you don't have to worry about the security, because you can put certain thresholds in with security. Obviously, good passwords is a must, but there's 2 levels of authentication to authenticate users. So your system. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're about up for time now. And Michael, I really want to thank you for an amazing presentation, and also an incredible Q&A session as well. I know a lot of folks' questions were answered. If you have any further questions, please feel free to email those directly to Mike. Mike, do you want to bring up that last slide on your PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to do that right now.
And I also very much, so any questions that you have, please feel free to contact Mico Systems directly. I know a lot of folks on the call right now are Mico Systems clients, and Mico Systems clients love Mico Systems. For those people who are not clients, you can really get your questions answered and systems up to speed by contacting the folks at Mico. Everybody at Mico is a technical expert, and is also very, very local to Oakville and the Toronto area. So please feel free to give them a call. And I also want to thank all the participants. We had well over 50 participants on today's call for attending, and wish everybody a fantastic day, and look forward to working with you at Mico Systems in the future. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Eric.